Hello everyone, my name is Savannah Hall and this is my mini presentation about the death marches. The death marches began in the fall of 1944 as the Germans were losing territories that they had occupied and the Soviet Union was advancing. This led to the evacuation of many of the camps and killing centers. The victims were forcefully evacuated and forced to walk through German, Austrian, and Czech lands while being already exhausted and in bad conditions. Sadly, many of the victims died or were killed along the way, and that is where the term death marches comes from. While all of this was going on, the Nazi regime was planning and opening new labor camps, but in other areas that were safe from Allied advance. Next, I would like to talk about a study done by Daniel Blattman. It highlights the journeys of the victims and their so-called guards. According to the study, each case seems to be similar, speaking in the terms of what the victims went through and their treatment. The guards were hastily recruited from numerous places. Some were local police, some were soldiers, or even reserve officers. It was whatever they could find at the moment. The weak or uncooperative were shot, along with the ones that were unable to keep up or that fell behind. Now I would like to talk about the evacuation from Auschwitz specifically. The numbers used here are not total for the death marches, but specific to Auschwitz alone. During mid-January 1945, Soviet forces were approaching Auschwitz, so the SS began evacuating prisoners. SS units forced about 60,000 victims to march west from Auschwitz, either to Gliwice, which was about 30 miles away northwest, or to Władysław, which was about 35 miles west. Those that fell behind or could not continue were shot. The victims suffered through intense cold, starvation, and exposure throughout these marches, and 3,000 died just on the trip to Gliwice alone. Possibly as many as 15,000 prisoners died in total during the evacuation from Auschwitz. In conclusion, the death marches ultimately ended in 1945, and for most, it was only the beginning of their freedom. Over a span of 9 months, most of the camps were liberated, and unfortunately the victims faced many hardships. The Nazis had stripped them of their jobs, homes, family, friends, and many had no place left to go. This left many people being placed in disabled person camps until they were able to immigrate somewhere else. There was no reversing what these people had been through and seen. Many also died after liberation, due to malnourishment and other factors. Thankfully, there were some survivors that lived and were able to inspire others and tell their stories. One such survivor was Lily Applebaum Monique, who in an interview shared her experience. These are my sources. The first is of course our class book, and the other links were all used in the making of this presentation as well. The first one is about Dr. Daniel Blattman. The second and third are about the death marches in detail, and the fourth is the website where I got all of the pictures that were used in this presentation. The fifth link elaborates more about the ending of the death marches, and lastly, the sixth link has the interview with Lily Applebaum Monique. I would highly recommend that you at least watch this, as well as check out the other links as well. Thank you all for watching, and let me know if you have any questions, please.